You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith. The conversation you're about to tune into is between myself and the magnificent DJ Jazzy Jeff. The reason for the conversation is to promote the 3 shows that he's got coming up in Australia, or read out the dates. On Thursday the 8th, he's playing in Melbourne at the Prince. Friday the 9th, he's playing in Sydney at Max Watts. And finally, Saturday the 10th, Brisbane at the Valley Drive-In. So let's have a listen to what the legend has to say. Here we go.
Hello.
Hey, mate, it's Andrew Mackay-Smith calling for our chat. How you going?
How are you, man?
I'm doing very, very well, mate. How's Japan been treating you? Have you managed to sample some of the whiskey over there yet? Because it's fantastic stuff.
Well, you know what? Not yet. Maybe later on today. We are really suffering from jet lag really bad.
Oh, yeah.
So we are trying to, trying to get, because by the time everybody is okay, it's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know if there's a place I can get whiskey.
All right, one for the bucket list, mate. So, look, it's a pleasure and a privilege to talk to you. I've been a fan.
I appreciate it, man.
I've been a fan for a long time. I've been a fan since I became aware, actually, that you were responsible for Deep, Deep Trouble on the Simpsons soundtrack. I can't remember the name of the album.
Wow.
I remember
wow, you dug that one up.
Yeah, well, I remember I had it as a single, and I remember seeing, I can't remember if I saw your name back then or someone told me, because, singles are long gone, we're talking about almost 30 years ago now. But I guess that'll be my first question before I talk about the tour you're bringing down to Australia. What was it like to collaborate with Matt and the Simpsons team?
It was great. It was funny just being a fan of The Simpsons and just getting that call. And they were saying The Simpsons are coming out with an album and they want you to produce something. And it's funny because when somebody tells you that, that's kind of like somebody saying Fred Flintstone wants you to produce a song for him. Because you're kind of like, well, who is the actual, who are the actual Simpsons? So it was really cool to kind of hook up with Matt and talk with him and created something pretty much on the spot. And then to have Nancy come in and do the vocals, that was really wow. Just, realizing that this is the actual voice of Bart Simpson. And it came out and people dug it. So I thought, that was really cool. That was high up on the bucket list.
Well, it's one of your mini hits, of course, but I think it was the only hit that the Simpsons ever had. So you got to feel proud of that.
Oh wow, yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about this show you're bringing down to Australia. What can fans expect? I'm here in Brisbane, so I might be able to get along to the Valley show that you're putting on there. But what sort of show are you bringing down? Is it one that's focused on new material, or is it a good spread of classic hits and some modern stuff?
Oh, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. I'm bringing Dane Jordan, who has been on the road with me for about the past 7 years. Bringing Rhymefest, who is just, super legendary. And the shows have been very, very high energy because it's a mixture of a live performance, a DJ set. It's kind of all over the place. But I just think, people are very much in need of having a good time. And I think it's our job and duty to make people have a good time. So it all seems to kind of balance out. But we're super duper excited. I think this is Rhymefest's first time, coming to Australia, and we haven't been, in a couple of years. So, we were chomping at the bit to get down there.
I'm so glad you said what you said a moment ago about it being your job to entertain people, because people are in need of it. Because I speak to a lot of artists. I've done well over 300 interviews at this point, but some artists are very self-conscious of, the political narrative that's happening at the moment, and to be seen to be doing something which is bringing entertainment to people. But I think exactly to your point, now is the time for it. This is when people need it. They need the escape.
I mean, and it's funny because I've always looked at it that was my job, for the most part, that, you break up with your girl, you lose your job, you have any kind of mishap, you want to go out and you want to forget about it. So if I can give you an hour and a half, 2 hours of pleasure through music and just in a way that you're not really paying attention to everything that's going on, then that's what I'm supposed to do is offer just a break. We need a break from it. So, we enjoy it.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so I mentioned one of your accomplishments a moment ago with the Simpsons episode there, but you've done far more than that, of course. You're a two-time Grammy winner for Parents Just Don't Understand and also Summertime. You've achieved numerous top 10 singles and have been credited on more albums and songs that I could actually count. It actually went right off the page on my MacBook Air here. So you've been prolific. Your career stretches way back to 1985. So what's that now? God, 35 odd years or so. And of course, demand for your performances across the globe is strong. So here's the question. What are you most proud of?
That is a very good question because I don't think I've ever really looked at my journey like that. Yeah. I think I've always been a slightly superstitious that when you start looking at things in that manner, that means you're getting close to the end. And to even sound even a little bit more strange, I don't think I've done what I'm supposed to do yet.
Okay.
So I don't. Yeah. I think my purpose is something that I haven't done yet. Okay. And I'm not even sure if that's music related, which is really wild. But it's I really start taking this approach like I'm in the back of a taxi, and I'm letting him drive, and I'm just enjoying the view.
Okay.
And I'm just hoping that the ride isn't over tomorrow.
I don't think it will be. I think you've got plenty of years left in you because such as the demand, as I say, for you to perform and to release material and the like. So here's another question for you because you've been around so long and you've seen a lot and you've done a lot and God knows how many fads and changes have come along through the time that you've been on the scene. But I typically interview rock and heavy metal artists. It's pretty rare for me to be able to have the opportunity to chat to a hip-hop artist, which is why I'm so grateful to have a chat to you. Now, something that heavy metal does probably far too much of, they're very backward-looking. Now, for example, the Download Festival that's coming up in Australia, which is a big heavy metal festival, the headline artists have all been around for about, one of them has been around for almost 50 years, Judas Priest.
Yeah, okay.
Something that I think hip-hop does very well is it's looking for the young, fresh and the new, and it's looking for people to give it an edge. So you've got Kendrick Lamar, you've got Drake, and you've got a whole host of new artists. Azalea Banks, you've got a whole host of new artists that are around and out right now that are adding to the legacy, if you like, of hip-hop and of urban music. But what's your take on that? Do you think that hip-hop doesn't honour its forefathers enough? So we're talking about Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards, the great masters, of course, in Chic, who really had a profound influence, even though they were disco, had a profound influence over urban music and hip-hop. But also yourself, Run DMC, Sugar Hill Gang. Do you think you guys get enough props from the current crew or the current artists that are out there representing the genre of music?
Well, you know what I think? I think that is what's the word I'm looking for? That's very split. Because I think in order for the younger artists to give the older artists props, the older artists have to give respect to the younger artists. Because I think what happens is sometimes older artists have a tendency to criticize the youth. The youth never take that criticism lightly. Like they're never going to say, oh, you just discredited what I'm doing right now because you don't think it has any merit. And I'm sorry, I'm going to change. You're going to defend yourself. It's kind of the same thing that Will and I did, when in the early days of hip hop, when hip hop started being targeted that this isn't real, this isn't going to last, we felt the need to defend ourselves, just like the younger generation. So I think an oval of respect, I believe that respect has to go both ways. It can't just be, let me honor the older or the legacy artists while they just basically discredit us. I think it needs to go both ways. The times that I've seen it go both ways, it has gone amazing. Yeah. Because, you are really the blueprint for a lot of what these guys have done. But it's a different time. It's a different era. I think, I think growing up in a household that my mom never discredited what I did is what helped me thrive.
Okay.
Like, my mom did not have to like what I did, but my mom never discredited what I did. She respected as it was something of mine. There's a lot of new hip-hop that I don't like. But guess what? There was a lot of old hip-hop that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I respect someone's journey. If you have one person in the world that is a fan, then that's enough credibility for me to say that you need to keep doing it. I think when you start telling people that what they do isn't necessary or isn't important is a form of prejudice. So I'm just kind of like, you don't have to like it, just respect it.
Yeah. Great response, mate. Wonderful response. A very intelligent response, an articulate response. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to release this as a podcast episode. So hopefully it's something that a few people can listen to that might need to give some of that respect that you're talking about there.
Yes, absolutely.
So, mate, I better let you go. John's told me I've only got the 10 minutes, so I'd love to chat to you more. But look, congratulations on a stellar career. I'm so glad that you're still doing what you're doing and touring, and good luck with what you're doing in Australia too, mate.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks. Cheers.
All right.
Bye. You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that conversation featured DJ Jazzy Jeff. Thanks so much for listening.